Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Entertainment Channel. And today I'm reading to you guys this article I found in Bounding into Comics that says, according to a rumor, the Snyder Cut, yes, that old gem, of Justice League is going to be available on HBO Max. Now, HBO Max is obviously the new streaming service that's going to be started by Warner Media, or I think it's going to be put out by Warner Media, which is of course the studio that's owned by Warner Brothers. So now, look, before I get into this article, I sort of want to give you guys my thoughts on the whole Snyder Cut thing. Now, look, do I think that there is a cut of Justice League that was directed, that was what Zack Snyder initially envisioned for the film? Yes, I think that it's there, but I think that I and many other people who all know that it's not like a 100% complete film. Like, there's still a lot of work to be done. Like, they still got to fix it in post. They need to edit in the soundtrack. I'm sure there's a lot of VFX shots, since we all know that superhero movies today tend to be very VFX heavy. So I'm sure there's still a lot of VFX shots that needs to be done. So like a 100% could be put in the theaters film now, right now, is that the Snyder cut that people are asking for? Yes. Is that the one is it the one that exists? No, no, that's not it. So whenever people keep saying like release the Snyder cut, to me I keep thinking that I don't think it's gonna happen, because for that to happen, Warner Brothers would need to spend like millions and millions and millions of dollars to get that movie done. And I don't think they're really going to do that. I mean, maybe not now, but I always thought that maybe it was going to be done like someday in the future, and just something they decided to do, for the fans, because why not? Although technically none of the Snyder Cut stuff would be even be happening now if maybe you gave Joss Whedon the time he should have he needed in order to actually finish your movie. Because there was that whole rumor that originally, like, they thought of maybe pushing Justice League back a few months instead of the November release date that it had. It would have been pushed back a couple of months so that Joss Whedon would have been given the time he needed to actually make sure the movie was done, and for it to not look like such a Frankenstein abomination of a movie, which it was. Because yeah, it's just I tried to rewatch the film recently, and I couldn't get through it. So but then what happened is, for anyone who doesn't know, is that basically the some of the stars in the film have tweeted out hashtag release the Snyder Cut, and now some of those included Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, and I think Ray Fisher was one of them. But I know that Jason Momoa, because he kept saying that he's been to Snyder's house and he's seen like the cut of the film, like the Snyder cut that everyone keeps asking for, and he said it looks sick, and people heard of that and they said, "Oh, so the Snyder cut does exist? So release it, Warner Brothers, release the Snyder cut." But again, the cut that they're asking for doesn't exist yet. Like, it still needs to be done. Also, to me, I wasn't a big fan of Justice League, and I'm, to be honest, me myself, and I know this is probably not the popular opinion, but I'm just not a big fan of Zack's excuse me, Zack Snyder's DCEU. I'm not a fan. Other than Wonder Woman, um, and Wonder Woman, Zack Snyder wasn't even that heavily involved in Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was the only film I actually liked. Second is Man of Steel, and that's only because I liked half of that movie. The other half I did not enjoy. Then it goes Justice League, Suicide Squad, and then BVS. Like, for me, BVS is the worst. It's the worst of the bunch. I hate it. And by the way, in case you probably noticed, I didn't add Aquaman or Shazam in there because excuse me. Even though even though those two are technically part of this DC universe, they did happen after Zack Snyder left. So, like, I don't really consider those to be necessarily part of the DCEU, even though necessarily they are. I mean, in those movies, they make references to some of the stuff that happened in the other movies. Like in Aquaman, they made a reference to some of the stuff that happened in Justice League, and in in Shazam, they made references to Batman as Superman. Superman even made a cameo, even though you didn't get to see his face. So yeah, but still, because of that, I don't necessarily count those two to be part of Zack Snyder's DCEU. Even though you could make the argument that it is, but I don't personally I don't. So yeah, I mean, so whenever I keep hearing people saying, "Oh, release the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut," to me, I don't care. If I'm being honest, like considering everything Zack Snyder gave us, I don't think. I mean, yeah, maybe it'll be cool, um, and I'm sure fans of Zack Snyder would love to see this. And I think that's the most important thing here is that right now, the way things are right now, Hollywood right now needs to do things to get back in the good graces of fans. Because the way that certain members in Hollywood have been acting, they've lost favor with a lot of their fans. Like the fans are not particularly fond of Hollywood right now. So if the Warner Brothers were to say, you know what, you guys keep asking for this, and you know what, for you guys, we're gonna do this. Although I'm sure technically the only reason they're really doing this is to try and get some money, which I mean you can't blame them. At the end of the day, they are a business. So, but if they were to do this, they would gain a lot of favor with the Zack Snyder fans, or with the fans of the DCEU, because the DCEU or Zack Snyder's DCEU does have its fan base. So if they do this, they're definitely going to make them happy, which I think is important. Excuse me, let me just get rid of this. Which I think is important right now. I mean, we just saw with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, Paramount, like they saw the criticism that people gave that first horrible trailer that they released, especially the way Sonic looked. I mean, you know what? That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to accidentally trigger any bad memories that you have of that trailer. But what did they do? They listened. They fixed it. They even pushed the movie back to give them time to maybe rework some things. Like, okay, maybe we need to rethink some things. They fixed his design, and then what did they do? A new trailer came out. They fixed his design. His attitude was more like Sonic, and it was good. And fans all said, "Look at that!" So studios do listen, and people love it. And I'm sure a lot of people, even if they're not fans of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm talking about the character, not necessarily the film or the franchise. I'm talking about the character. Even if they're not fans of Sonic the Hedgehog, I think when they hear what happened, that this studio, especially today, actually listened to the criticisms of the fans and actually took steps to, address some of those criticisms. I mean, they might go support that movie just for that alone. I mean, I know I will. I get to support a studio that actually listens to his fans, and I get to see a character that I like on screen. I mean, come on, that's a win-win for me. So yeah, I mean, that's why when I look at this, the release the Snyder Cut thing, I see this as an absolute win, because, or it could be a big win for Warner Brothers, because not only is it going to be a good thing for the Zack Snyder fans, but it'll also gain them favor with a lot of the general audience right now. Because like I said, the Hollywood and the general audience right now are not on good terms, especially with this whole debacle with Lucasfilm. Not to mention other studios that have these that some of the directors that they hire constantly going online and bashing anyone who says anything negative about their film. To me, I don't understand. Like, studios, I don't understand why they don't talk to the directors or the directors that they hire and say, hey, listen, we've noticed that in the past that whenever a director goes online or on social media and starts attacking fans for just raising any criticism that they have of their upcoming projects, like, we've noticed that it kind of leads to our projects not really making as much money as we kind of hope it will, which it needs to make money considering how much we invest in these projects. So, hey, maybe in the future, like, whatever criticism you hear about your film, or not necessarily the film, or just the marketing of the film, just leave it alone. Take the criticism. Just take it. That's it. Just leave it alone. So, okay, with that being said, let's get into this article. So, A new rumor suggests the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League will be available on HBO Max, and that's another thing. When they first announced HBO Max, and since HBO I think is owned by Warner Media, which is owned by Warner Brothers, or is it Warner Media owns Warner Brothers? I don't know. It's one of the two. Excuse me. I always thought, okay, well, even if they don't want to release it in theaters, because they'd have to pay for it to be in theaters, maybe they can just release it on HBO Max. Like, also, that would be good marketing for their service. Other than everything else, like, hey, listen, if you want to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League, here it is. Here it is. Just right there it is. Sign up for HBO Max. There it is. You can watch it along with everything else we have. And I think a lot of people might get HBO Max. Just to see the Snyder Cut of Justice League. The rumor comes from Mikey Sutton in his Geekosity Facebook group. Sutton states, despite continuous denials from Warner Brothers, there are plans to release the Snyder Cut of Justice League on HBO Max. He adds, however, there are issues preventing them from announcing when to expect it. Mainly, the Snyder Cut is unfinished. See, just like I said, the Snyder Cut is unfinished. There is incomplete FX work, for one thing. Snyder was gone from Justice League before specific scenes could be, and now never will be, shot. That's right, they'd have to ask some of the actors to come back and shoot some of those scenes that he didn't get to finish because, obviously, because of the tragedy with his family. Which, man, when I first heard about that, I mean, I can't even imagine what he went through. I mean, what's left needs work to be presented to the general public. Which, by the way, I really do hope Zack Snyder's doing okay. I hope he's feeling better. I mean, I know you can't really recover from something like that, but just my thoughts are with him and his family, always. That's never gonna go away, especially after what happened. All right. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to make it depressing. So to what Kevin Smith said about revealed about the Snyder Cut. I can't talk today. Smith confirmed back in August that a Snyder Cut existed, but it was not completed. Now, it's not a finished movie by any stretch of the imagination. There were things that went away from the story that they shot that didn't wind up going into visual effects or anything like that. So I would assume, based on what I've been told, that large sections of that Snyder Cut are, previs, with a lot of green screen. We're not talking a finished movie. See, this is, again, just reconfirming, like, it's not a done movie. Like, Warner Brothers would still have to pay for it to be finished, for it to be an actual movie. He also indicated the cut was not something meant for mass consumption. It was a movie that people in production could watch and fill in the blanks. It was certainly not meant for mass consumption. That's true. If you've ever seen some of the, if you've ever seen a making of documentary of any film, when you see some of the shots as they were originally, like some of the post-production shots, you'll see, and then when you compare it to the final look in the movie, in the final product, you'll see that it's night and day. Nevertheless, Sutton reports Warner Brothers does plan to release the cut on HBO Max and will spend some dough to finish it. Warner Brothers will not confirm anything prematurely when it's ready. So will be all the marketing, as this will help push HBO Max to potential subscribers in terms of social media buzz. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get HBO Max considering where I am. It's not available where I am. I'm sorry. He even predicts that the Snyder Cut of Justice League could be available on launch day for HBO Max. I mean, there are other ways for me to watch it. I'm not gonna do that. Sorry. As Greg Berlanti's Green Lantern TV series won't reach the launch day of HBO Max, although it eventually be exclusive to that streaming service, Warner Brothers is hoping this will be their buzzworthy Mandalorian calling card. Sutton concludes by indicating that to finish the Snyder Cut will cost Warner Brothers around $10 million. Okay, so it's not as much as I thought it would be, but $10 million is still a hell of a lot of money. Finishing what there is of the Snyder Cut won't be cheap, and I'm told it's in the... Okay, so it's just reiterating what we already said. Snyder Cut okay, so Ray Fisher was one of them, Joe Manganiello, and Zack Snyder. Of course, Zack Snyder would. All of them, except for efforts released behind-the-scenes shots of the characters that were not including the theatrical release of Justice League. Aquaman director Jason Momoa Warner Brothers released the Snyder Cut, revealing an absolutely awesome shot of Aquaman appealing Steppenwolf. Oh, okay, here it is. I mean, who knows? Maybe in the Snyder Cut, Steppenwolf looks like an actual character. Because if you've seen the movie, yeah, it's just it looked bad. The release the Snyder Cut movement has considerably grown since the theatrical release of Justice League. Fans recently paid for a billboard outside of San Diego Comic-Con this summer that released the Snyder Cut. Of course they did. You gotta love the fans. You gotta let 10 lousy trends that's was So yeah, that's gonna be it. That's all I'm gonna say on this. I feel like I feel like this video's already gone on long enough. So anyway, that's gonna be it. Thank you so much for watching up until this point. Let me know what you guys think of this. Also, what are your thoughts on the release the Snyder Cut movement that's been going on in general? I really want to know what you guys think about this, and also let me know. Do you want the Snyder Cut? Do you want Warner Brothers to actually finish making it? So, all that being said, again, thank you so much for watching. You have no idea how much I appreciate you guys supporting me. If you've watched up until this point, again, if you want to support this channel, like, share, subscribe, share this video. Oh, we already said, yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. With that being said, join me on my next video. Bye.